Hello, everyone. What is going on? My name is Timpedia, and welcome back to the TNT podcast. We have a short one this week, definitely.
Yeah, there's
Yeah, let's
not
say
a
we say
lot
that
going
shit
on
all the
here.
goddamn time.
Episode 182 is well known for being a short episode. Definitely wasn't stretching out that opening to find out the episode.
I'll say no. He's going to not acknowledge the number. He's going to keep this very smooth and just move right into
Nah,
it.
it's more funny if I retroactively acknowledge that I looked up the number after starting the podcast. But we don't have a lot today, but we do have the full crew here, which is good. On my right
It's Friedman, also known as Andrew, but mostly known as Friedman.
and on my left.
Just Tyler.
Jeez. And
I'm losing my fucking mind, everybody. Just disregard me, please.
Just disregard. It's going around. It's okay. But we are going to get this show rolling with some who doesn't love, beloved franchise, Marvel Cinematic Universe. Is formerly beloved.
I mean, it's still known as the Marvel MCU. It's not formally known, but yeah, there's definitely issues
No,
with
I was mostly trying to turn it into
formerly
talking
beloved.
shit about Marvel, but there was some
yeah, fuck them. They're bad.
there was some big event 2 weekends ago. I can't remember what the name of it was. The name was on Reddit, and there was a bunch of trailers.
Was it a
that
Disney
came
event
out.
or just a Marvel centric event?
I thought it was like a film festival thing where they something where a bunch of trailers came out, but more importantly, we saw the first real trailer for Deadpool. What is it? Versus or Friends
I
with?
don't think it's
or
versus.
Deadpool and Wolverine.
I think just Deadpool and Wolverine.
But yeah,
So
that's
you guys saw this stuff. I did, or
Yeah,
at least heard
Deadpool
of
and
it. I didn't even
Wolverine.
know this was a thing.
yeah, Deadpool and Wolverine. It was just weird to watch this after every time I watch a Deadpool, like a trailer for a new Deadpool movie every couple of years, I'm like, oh yeah, they do constantly self-reference. Like, it is his whole shtick that he just self-references everything going on outside of the movie all the time forever. And that's half of this trailer is just, hey, guess what? We're in the Marvel Cinematic Universe now. Oh my god. Did the movie Logan happen? Is Kevin Feige going to tell us what to do?
Damn.
It's like so tongue in cheek that there's like just a massive hole in my cheek now.
There's a massive hole just dug right through. All the way through.
I don't know. It's just kind of interesting to watch because there is a lot of stuff there, and it does seem like it'll be interesting. I mean, it is at the end of the day, it is Hugh Jackman coming back to play Wolverine again. He hadn't done this since Logan. He's coming back to do it. He's wearing the yellow outfit. It's gonna be goofy. I don't know though. I still feel weird about this. Like, Logan was such a strong ending to this character in cinema. It still feels weird to bring him back for this like joke movie, basically.
Is it like canonically the same one, or is it a different?
It's probably technically a
cinematic
different one,
universe version.
Well, that's how they're kind of bringing. Apparently, they're like tying this in with the Loki TV show because the TSA, the time travel people, are in this.
Yeah.
So like, it's actually becoming part of the MCU. Like, not like unironically, Deadpool is going to be related to the MCU now, which is just fucking weird.
I mean, if you watch the Loki show, it makes sense.
That would imply I watched season 2 of Loki, or any show recently that's related to Marvel.
Which, hold up, that brings.
Loki was okay.
Loki season 1 was fine, but by the time season 2 came out, I was just so out of Marvel, I just don't care.
Yeah.
You watched season 2, Tyler?
I did.
I had totally forgotten that.
We watched season 1. We're like, this is okay. Like, it's really out of like Michelle and I are just like starved for like actual shows we want to watch while like eating. And it's like we could watch anime, but
who wants to do that?
Like, well, no, it's.
Oh, you have to read.
We gotta like to read subtitles while eating. It's like it's
sometimes annoying.
Yeah, it's kind of annoying, honestly. Like, I don't like doing it either. So like, I'm actually okay with not watching anime while eating. So
no, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, like we're just like starved for shows to watch, and that's how we kind of ended up like watching Fallout, which I'll get to later.
Yeah, I'm
Oh
sure.
yeah.
I've heard great things about Fallout, but I heard Loki season 2 was a lot of it was just how do we get this guy who was going to be Kang out of the MCU because he fucked up so bad, and now we have to cut him loose. Is that true,
I'm
Tyler?
I don't know if that was the true intention at the beginning of season 2, because like he is like a major character, no pun intended, actually. Um, Throughout season 2, like
Oh,
he is
okay.
a actual major character. But at the very end, I'm assuming you guys don't care if I spoil it.
No.
Go
Like
for it.
by the end of the season, he's done though. Um,
Oh, wow.
yeah, like at the end, but like they do it in actually like a pretty interesting fashion though. So like I was like, dang, this is actually like, and the way they did it was actually kind of cool too. Like Loki essentially takes Kang's place
Oh my god.
at like the end of everything, literally.
Interesting.
And I'm like, damn, this is some actual comic book shit, which is kind of dope. Like he has like a really cool scene of like spoilers. Just like skip ahead like a couple minutes if you care about it, but like honestly, it's like whatever. But yeah, he like grabs because like the whole show is about trying to like gather the timelines together and like make sure that they don't branch enough to
Mm-hmm.
go like super chaotic. And they're branching so much. But he kind of makes himself, I forget how it works, but like he basically turns into like this conduit, and he ties all of the timelines together. Like he's physically holding them together, and he's using his body as like a grounding basically to hold all of these timelines together. So he has to sit on this throne forever, or else all the threads are gonna like fray and get
Unravel.
fucked again. Yeah.
Until in 10 years they go, we found a way to put it all back together.
Yeah, something like that. I was like, oh, it's kind of cool. Like I like the concept. I thought the ending was actually pretty good.
That
And I was
I
like,
thought
this
I
is,
remember seeing some clip on YouTube of like Loki climbing on a throne and like grabbing a bunch of stuff and screaming.
that's the scene that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, that being said, it's not like it revives me wanting to like go out. Like realistically, this Deadpool movie is the only Marvel thing that I'd been remotely interested in seeing since uh yeah, what was the last thing that come out that I wanted to see?
It has to have been something since
I can't
Spider-Man,
even
right?
fucking remember. That's how bad it is.
Was it something
Um
since Spider-Man?
oh, probably no, Into the Spider-Verse. Well, that's I feel like that's
That's
That
different.
doesn't count.
it's not.
I feel
I
like it
would not
doesn't
count
count.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't even count that. Like Shang-Chi was like okay, but I
Shang-Chi
wasn't
was
like
pretty
hyped for
pretty
that.
decent.
What was it? The Marvels that fucking
Didn't
looked
even
like it
watch.
blew. That was a bomb.
I'm genuinely trying to think. What was the last
The last
MCU?
genuine thing that you wanted to see.
Wanted
Oh,
to see
it was
keyword.
Guardians 3 because that was the only one last year. Guardians 3, and I didn't even want to see that bad, but
Oh
Guardians
yeah,
3 was the
Guardians
last
3.
MCU movie I saw.
For me, it was Doctor Strange, and I was so disappointed that I blitzed through all the Spider-Man movies just to watch that movie.
Yeah. So
Why you didn't like Evil Dead 3?
Very funny.
Man, no one got that joke except for me and
what do you
probably Leslie.
what do you mean?
No,
I
because I've only seen Evil Dead 1.
Okay. What was it? Oh, so yeah, because Sam Raimi directed
yeah.
this one. Okay, dude, so much Evil Dead references in that
Oh
Doctor
yeah.
Strange movie.
Of course there were.
Wait, really?
Oh,
I'm
there,
pulling these up.
yeah, there's a lot of them. Like mostly like Army of Darkness shit though, because
Gotcha.
that was the most popular one. You know.
I do gotta say though, like when you mentioned Shang-Chi, that was one of the fewer newer Marvel movies I watched, and purely just from the reason that like, oh, you don't need to watch anything else to see this. And it came up with a lot of the Deadpool advertising. I read like 2 or 3 articles where all of them like very proudly exclaim they wrote this so that you don't have to watch any other movie to get everything going on here. And that's when it hit me that MCU, its biggest advantage used to be all this
Yeah.
connected, intertwining shit that made it really great for like big fans. and now it's just become this absolute burden that no one wants to deal with. And it's like, how do we make stuff that's just like only barely connected to MCU so that people might actually want to come in and watch this because they haven't watched the last 6 TV shows we produced?
Yeah, I think they are very aware that people are losing interest and are feeling that, and they have to be like, no, we swear you can watch this movie, I promise. I think also that's kind of I will say I think it's a little BS to say that, because I feel like they're only saying that because every time something happens in the movie, Deadpool's gonna look at the camera and go, by the way, this is a reference to this. That like that's what they mean when you. Oh yeah, you don't have to have seen anything else because we're just gonna explain it to you in this movie as a joke from Deadpool. Like, it's not that you actually get nothing out of it. It's, no, we're just going to make references and point at the camera and go, look, the thing.
I'm honestly not surprised. I think I've even said it on this podcast a few times, where it's like, I was always worried that the movies were gonna go in the direction of the comic books, and that's exactly what is happening. Where they're just spewing shit out and they're hoping. It's actually funny. I feel like this and DC, the DCU, literally is doing the same exact thing that the comics are doing, and no one likes it. Because whereas the Marvel, right, all they do is just they print as many things and hope that you read it as much as you can. Like they'll just print shit. They don't care what it is. They just put it out there and they're like, nah, you'll read it because you're a fucking loser, right? DCU, on the other hand, has next to no IPs that they can really fucking write, and there's only like certain people that can write Superman, and like Wonder Woman is kind of like whatever. So what do? They literally have like 10 fucking different storylines related to Batman.
Oh my god.
And it's like, you look at the movies out, what is the new DCU movie coming out right now?
I don't actually know.
Joker 2.
Oh shit! Wait, that's all right.
Yeah, and it's like Aquaman came out, but no one really gave a shit about that. But then what came out before that one?
Flash?
Fucking Batman.
Oh,
Like, dude, it's literally oops all Batman. DCU's
It
like,
really
yo, our
is.
shit's fucked up. Let's do Batman. Though I will say they're really trying in their comics, because I was in the comic book shop the other week, and I was told that, and I was like, you know what, fine, I'll try issue 1. But my favorite comic author, oh my god, Tom King, right? He did that like 80 issues of Batman that I really liked.
Yeah.
He did issue 1, or he's doing a run of Wonder Woman. I'm
Currently?
probably not going to keep reading Wonder Woman, but I did really like that volume 1. But I was like, yo, like, how in trouble are you guys that you gotta give like all, like, because right now he's touched literally everything that DC has had so far, I think. And I'm just like, yo, you just need him to touch everything apparently just to save your shit. Like, come on. I just think it's mildly funny. But yeah, I don't know. Fuck this shit. I'm kind of done with comics anyway.
yeah.
Like, there hasn't been anything that's like coming out any, like, as far as comics go, there hasn't been much that I've been really into lately.
Even outside of like the Marvel DC space.
Yeah, some stuff. A lot of stuff's been in hiatus. Like, I've been like trying to read Saga. Like, Saga was good, but Saga's kind of like going far out. There was this one called The Forged that was super cool by like Greg Rucka, but he only put out like 4 issues of it. I'm trying to think. Like, there really isn't anything that's like out that's like super wowed me since Die was pretty good. Was it you guys would like maybe the idea? It's literally a Dungeons and Dragons isekai.
It just Die DIE.
Yeah, Die DIE. I have the whole series, like a physical copy actually. So it's about, quick synopsis. I think I even mentioned it like I think I finished reading this like a year or 2 ago when it ended. I was reading it as it came out. But this kid, it's literally Jumanji and D&D. This kid's like, hey, friends, I got this brand new game. You should play it with me. Sucks them into Jumanji for like I think however long, like a long ass time, and then they come out, and they have to live with like the whole trauma of them being sucked into this game for like X amount of time.
Interesting. Any listeners who are into this, you can read the first issue online for free on their website.
Oh, there you go. Well, through Image, right? I'm guessing.
Yeah, Image Comics.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah, I recommend it. The guy who wrote this, I actually have Leslie and I both have an issue of his Wicked and Divine series signed.
Sorry, I was about to say, what issue do you have with it? But I meant, oh, you meant you have an issue of it.
Yeah, I have an issue of it. Yeah, I have all of the physical issues of Die, Wicked and Divine. I have most of them, I think. I don't even remember. I have like a lot of like the later ones, but yeah. Oh, went off on a tangent. There ain't a lot of current comics that like I'm super into right now.
I was gonna say we can move on, but there is one last thing that is very relevant today. I saw earlier, like an hour ago, Chris Hemsworth did an interview where he said he deserves some of the blame for Thor: Love and Thunder being not very good. I don't blame him at all. I just blame Taika Waititi. Honestly, that movie just needed a better script and was way too indulgent from Taika. And
I think he got lazy as fuck.
Who,
I think
Taika?
he didn't give a shit. Yeah, I personally think he didn't.
I think it's the opposite. I actually think he just went way too hard, like way too hard.
Like, but the problem is, if you look at the progression of the Thor movies, this felt like the natural progression of just getting more stupid, but like it just got too stupid, I think.
It's too dumb. Like Taika, but I think that's Taika's fault. Like he didn't direct the other ones. Like Ragnarok was an almost perfect Thor movie. It was goofy, but like still played to the character.
And the balance.
And then this, man, whatever. I don't want to talk about Thor: Love and Thunder again, because then I'm just gonna go about how Christian Bale's villain would have been so good to be in more than one movie, and was like
that was pretty. Yeah, that was pretty bad. Shit, they should have. I'll even say this, but we can move on. He should have been instead of Kang. There, I said it. Done.
I think that would have been very different, but I do think he could have survived the movie. Like, Marvel has such a problem with just killing their good villains in one movie.
For real, though.
Like, imagine if he hadn't gotten to Eternity, but he had lived with the Necro Sword or something like that, and was like, I'm gonna go kill other people, not just gods.
The Necro Sword had to go to Black Swordsman at some point, though.
Besides like Loki and Thanos, what other villains have like stuck around for more than a movie or two?
Really can't think of any.
All right, we found the Marvel problem.
Yeah. No, I
guess I don't really know.
There was that minor guy who was the Black Panther guy, the Andy Serkis's weird character, but he's not really a major villain. He's just a super minor little dude.
Little dude.
They were building up what's her name? The CIA lady played by the lady from Seinfeld. She showed up in Black
Julia
Widow.
Dreyfus or whatever.
Yeah, Julia Louis Dreyfus or whatever her name is. Yeah, she's kind of doing this weird like CIA like not Avengers evil versions with like the fake Captain America.
Yeah, she's like
shit. She's doing like the
actual Amanda Waller.
I was just gonna say she's Amanda Waller for the MCU. It seems like they literally are like, hey, copy my homework, but change the answer. And it's like, here's the Suicide Squad. Haha. Anyway, let's move on because this is just whatever. Friedman, give us something else depressing.
Before we move on, Tim, I need to know: did we actually get demonetized for the last episode of D&D podcast? No.
Yes.
You All right.
Use
cool.
It as much as you want. Go for it.
Okay. Good. Cool. Because I got one bit on here. So since the last time we ranted about Final Fantasy VII, I've played maybe 10 hours of it. That includes an hour and a half of legitimate story content and then 8.5 hours of open world nonsense. And it's still every time a brand new minigame shows up, I hate it. Like from where we last left off, I pause in the middle of an important story moment, Cloud is going crazy. He like almost attacks Tifa, and now we got to deal with that. And the second you get control of your party after it, the game says, "Hey, there's a bunch of quests in the town you're currently in that you should consider doing before you leave." And I'm like, "All right, we just came off of a heavy story moment. I'm going to walk to the physically closest NPC with a quest to see what Square Enix said is the first thing you should do after this heavy story moment." And you walk up to this woman who said, "Oh, all my chickens escaped their coop. I need you to get the chickens back in here. But you need to lure them in using this bucket on the end of a string. And you need to slowly walk forwards and backwards to draw the attention of the chickens 5 times."
Damn.
And then they troll you because after you're done doing like, oh, there's one more chicken, and all these chickens are all around the town. And then for the last one, they run you. I'm not gonna lie, like a third of the way across the open world map to this next chicken, and they're like, "All right, you got to lure it back to the town." And I paused there and I said, "Is this it? Is this the moment where I just give up on all side quests in this game? Because I'm not gonna spend legitimately an hour dragging this chicken back to town." But luckily, it was a huge bait and switch because you drag it 3 feet and get into a fight with a monster, and then it resolves itself. But it was just like.
I'll tell you what though, I give up.
Whoa.
Like
I
hard
give
give up. You're done with the game overall.
Oh no. I'm giving up on the mini games. Like I can't do the mini
Oh
games
yeah,
anymore.
yeah.
Like I
think
really
that I'm gonna.
just fucking can't.
I think I'm gonna find at the end of this that being a completionist offered almost nothing, and it just made me hate the game more. And I really should have just stuck to the main story quests. You know what? Actually, Final Fantasy 16, I felt the same way. Where by the end of it, I was like, it was not worth doing all these quests. I should have just blitzed the main story.
Lamau.
What happened to us? Or what happened to Final Fantasy?
Yeah.
That
what
all these
happened
side quests are just so terrible.
Yeah. It's
All right,
ass.
whatever. That was our short update on where we are with 7. Hopefully, I have some time to blitz through the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, same. I need to add more. Honestly, I'm preoccupied with Legend of Dragoon, and that game's a banger.
The worst part is
So
like I
good.
want to get through 7 because like I bought Persona 3 Reload on sale, so I own the physical copy now. It's just waiting for me to beat the previous game in the queue. And I hate that I'm more excited for this remake than the last remake that I was hyped for. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know nothing either. Fuck
Alright,
this
well-
I
game.
don't know nothing.
All right, let's move on.
Speaking of fuck
So-
this game, except in a different way.
Yeah, let's talk about Stellar Blade, a game whose gameplay I'm still not entirely sure what it is, but it looks. That is the end of that sentence. So the controversy this week was, I thought the controversy was going to be around that. For anyone who knows the big news about Stellar Blade is there's a lot of skin tight suits in this game, and one of them I don't know if it's called the nudity suit, but for lack of better words, it's a nudity suit. So it's pretty much everything you can't show on TV is covered up, and then nothing else is. So super sexual. And then I heard the news that they were going to start censoring this. So my first assumption is, okay, they're getting rid of like the most like edgy sexual outfits. That's what's going on. And then I had to go digging through the news to figure out what actually is getting censored, because there's more news about people getting mad than about the thing that's actually getting censored. And it's like this bunny girl swimsuit that like they added maybe an inch of material to the swimsuit, and that is it. That was the whole controversy. And like I didn't get it. So I went on YouTube and I looked up what are the other outfits in the game that if everyone's flipping out about losing like an inch of crotch skin on this skin in particular, what's going on with the game? Like how much did they cover it up? And I watched a video showcasing every skin in the game. And I don't understand it because there's way worse skins than this one. I just don't
Man,
understand
you just
it.
don't understand. My Christian household cannot take this.
Full disclosure, I'm not playing this game solely because my PS5 is still at my parents' house and I don't want them seeing Stellar Blade on the TV.
Listen, I wouldn't give a fuck. My dad gave up when he saw me playing No More Heroes, and I was whacking it on screen. I'll never forget. He came in one day and like I was charging up my sword, like literally, not figuratively. All right, audience. All right, like that's what you gotta do.
But with the
right?
Wii remote, you were.
With the Wii remote, you have to shake it. Like literally, they did that shit on purpose because it was hilarious. Where like you make the jacking off motion to charge your sword, and he's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" So I learned that like there's no redeeming from that. So I'm like, whatever.
Your dad asks, "What are you doing?" So you make eye contact and you say, "There are no more heroes, Dad."
There's no more heroes.
I just
Also,
whatever. I think
Michelle
honestly,
Michelle wants to keep the ring, so like she can't judge me too hard.
I don't know, man. This like it's just I mean, this is like talking about censorship in like Leisure Suit Larry 20 years ago. Like it's such a moot nothing.
But like, I keep seeing articles about it, and I'm like, this is like, there's more controversy about the controversy than there is the thing that the controversy is about.
Welcome to the modern age of the fucking shit ass internet.
I don't like this. I
Yeah.
don't like this hype
Like,
cycle.
like what else? They have nothing else to talk. Freeman, we got so little news this week that they're in the same boat, except their livelihood depends on it. So what do we got? Oh, there's controversy. 5 people on Twitter said a thing, so let's fucking go crazy.
You are right. I know. I remember the big thing earlier this year that Sony's like, we don't really have a lot of PS5 games coming out, so like, I guess they got to milk the publicity about anything about this game. It's still
No,
not
you
out.
could have just stopped it. They got to milk the publicity about anything. Period.
Gaming journalism. Are we gaming journalists at this point?
No, God.
Or we just
no.
regurgitate other
Absolutely
gaming
not.
news?
We don't bring anything new to the table whatsoever. Other
Yeah,
than
we don't do
ourselves.
any
Well, we're
sort of
gaming journalists.
investigative-
Gotcha.
Yeah, yo, damn.
Remember
Damn.
how Donkey's video about gaming journalists got huge controversy, and then he was like, "But am I wrong though?"
Okay, but this makes me feel like a gaming journalist.
Damn.
Oh my God, that's so.
I mean,
So-
we really do come on here and just bullshit about literally fucking nothing after everybody else says. So,
Yeah.
you know.
Yo,
Well, because
did
now,
you get-
because our next topic is like actual, real air quotes gaming journalism. It's going to go by in like 30
yeah,
seconds.
but
but
did you guys watch Donkey's like shitpost video from yesterday?
I don't watch those videos.
oh shit, no, I didn't watch it yet.
It's-
I'll probably watch it
It's
after.
such a shitpost.
Is it funny?
It's I don't even know
But
if it's
why am I
funny.
watching it?
It's funny that it exists.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't like watching his shit posts.
Well, then don't.
The fact
Howard.
that they get
Jesus.
millions of views, I'm like, damn, like, what?
Let's talk about the art of shit posting here. So
Okay.
I think TikTok is the superior format for shit posts because they're nice, short. You get your joke out of the way. With Donkey, his videos are long, so especially if you're not feeling the shit postiness at the beginning, it has a tendency to drag.
Yes.
Yes.
So I definitely think short form is better for shit posting.
Sure.
All right, I'm glad we can come to a consensus.
I didn't say it was great. I just said I thought it was kind of funny and I sat through it, but I don't think most people. I'm sure most of his views did not sit through it because it's fucking stupid.
Was it repetitive or was it?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Like,
All
most
right. At
of
least
his,
I know what
like,
at least I know
meme
going into it.
videos are like most
Speaking
of
of
his videos
memes,
like that.
what Freeman Persona's big meme?
So, Metaphor RePhantazio, the game, I'm just going to call this, it's not Persona 6, because it's still in the Shin Megami Tensei family, so all the same, like, summons are there, all the characters look like they're from a Persona game. It takes place in Tokyo. It's not Persona. It's got the director of the Persona franchise who doesn't work on Persona anymore. It's got the sound director of the Persona franchise who doesn't work on Persona anymore. And it's not Persona. But it is coming out in October, and the reason I'm excited for this is not because I plan to play it, but because they've strongly signaled that this is the thing stopping them from making Persona 6. Atlas onboarded a ton of new developers and had them work on Persona 3 Reload. So when you got to ask yourself, what's the next project they're working? They brought on all these people and had them understand what the anatomy of like the core Persona game is. And what do you think they're going to have them do next? That's right. They're going to work on Persona 6 after RePhantazio launches. So I'm excited to see that get out the door because let's be real. Persona 5 came out like 8 years ago.
Stop.
It's getting old.
Stop.
They're going to start selling the anniversary collection of Persona 5 before Persona 6 comes
Well,
out.
I asked you to stop, and you just keep
He kept
going. Like, I
doubling
don't
down.
understand. Like, what?
Freeman's
I
like,
simply
damage,
asked
damage,
to
damage,
stop telling
damage.
me about how old I'm getting, and you just don't.
He refused. He refused.
You just refuse. I don't like what. Like, what did I do to you?
Sorry, old man. The future's now.
Fuck.
What you did to me is that you didn't play Persona 5. And you still
But
got a
it's
couple
okay,
years
you
until the
played-
10th anniversary
You've played Persona 5 enough times for all of us, so.
for 2/3 of
Yeah.
us.
You did.
All right. Let's move on. The last one, I think this one is interesting. So, to no one's surprise, Square Enix has been in trouble the last year or so. They have a lot of games launching and none of them are selling. Especially with, I forget what the actual player count was on it, but Foam Stars, their knockoff of Splatoon that was supposed to be like their This was the evolution of their how do we sell AI
I forgot
generated
to say-
collectible image art
Oh.
after the.
That's right. That's the only reason we talked about it was because they were like, we used AI, and everyone's like, "Roar!" But they were like,
Yeah.
we did this AI. So
So it's
Big fucking
that
shot.
was very much a flash in the pan where they were expecting that to be like a consistent revenue generator live service model style game.
Walter.
So they announced today they're changing part of their game development pipeline. I think a lot of it ended up causing them to cancel in-flight projects. The big number they're throwing is $140 million thrown away in canceled projects, which I think is kind of wild. I'm really hoping it doesn't mean that they stop development of anything that isn't the major franchise like Final Fantasy Kingdom Hearts. Because last year, Square Enix went on this huge binge of releasing a bunch of games that aren't part of like major franchises. Like they did Diofield Chronicle, they did maybe the Data Live remake was earlier in the year. But point is, they're releasing all these games that aren't big name brands. Like Harvestella was on here, and these are games that don't quite feel like AAA games, but they were priced like they were AAA games, and they released random parts of the year. Like 2 of them released within the same week as Baldur's Gate 3. Like Square did not spread out their releases or put them at adequate times or advertise any of them, and they're sitting here shocked Pikachu face that none of these games with no legacy going into them had any fanfare, and then proceeded to not sell appropriately.
I think
So
this is just another example of oops AAA. Like I know we've talked about it before because it came out. I think we talked about it after Spider-Man, right? Where AAA budgets are just getting so stupidly out of control, ridiculous. And what are the games that people talk about? Well, they talked about Pal World a few months ago, and now it's Helldivers. Like
Helldivers isn't even priced like a AAA game.
no, and it's not, and that's why. But like, what was the game of last year? Baldur's Gate. Would you call Baldur's Gate a AAA game? Maybe, but it was in early access for what 4 years.
Is Baldur's Gate a AAA game? I haven't actually played any of it. I've seen what it looks like, and I assume it's AAA, but I don't actually know.
Yes.
But like I
I would
said,
argue yes.
it was in early access for years and years. It's also, you know, it's a different thing. It's not just how do we ride a bandwagon. They did very much their own thing. It's like it feels like this headline is Square Enix is starting to realize that maybe dumping shit tons of money into big projects that no one actually cares about isn't worth it.
I mean, here's the thing. Like, I actually
They also keep shooting themselves in the foot, like a lot with some things. Like the other thing, like, because they were like mad, right? That like, oh, Final Fantasy 16 didn't sell as much as they wanted it to. It's like, my guy, you put it on you made it a PlayStation
5
exclusive.
exclusive. Like you capped your audience with that decision.
Yeah, like same thing with like Final Fantasy 7, right? Like they also made that or was it a PlayStation exclusive when they know damn well they probably could have released it on PC or Xbox, and they probably would have been okay, but they chose not to. They chose to get that Sony money, and look where it got them. Like,
so actual funny stat about Final Fantasy VII. So it may just be because the PS4 was like the dominant console last generation, but
yes,
if you look at percent of like copies sold versus number of consoles sold, 7 Rebirth has like a massive grip on people who own PS5 versus Final Fantasy 7 Remake, which didn't capture that percentage of the PS4's market.
yeah,
But this may
it's
just
true
be
though.
funny numbers.
Wasn't it because even at this point, the people who have PS5s probably give a shit about Final Fantasy?
Yeah, at this point, like if you
install
own a
base is so
PS5,
much smaller. You're gonna if you like, and we talked about how Sony doesn't have a lot of games, whereas PS4 had a lot of games coming out. Like, yeah, not a lot of games are coming out, so people are probably buying
yes,
Final Fantasy.
but Remake came out during that magical time period called the coronavirus pandemic, where everyone was indoors and needed video games to play.
I don't know, man. I feel like the lesson here should be stop putting so much stock into these massive games and build something with a simpler scope that costs way less money and just see what sticks.
So I'm for that. The problem was they released 12 of those games in a 4-month span and didn't market any of them. So I think I don't know if they're actually bad games. I'm full disclosure. I'm waiting for most of them to go on sale on Steam. But like Square can still produce non AAA games. They just seem to have a hard time selling them.
I think part of the problem is that everybody has a hard time selling games. Like people didn't sell Palworld. Palworld just caught the zeitgeist and went crazy. Same thing with Helldivers. Helldivers 1 was not a success compared to, like, it's not like Helldivers was like Call of Duty level to Helldivers 2. Like it's so hard to know what's just going to capture people like that.
Honestly, at this point, between using only those 2 data points, I'm going to say memes. Memes carry the world. Being able to say Pokemon with guns and people know what you're talking about, golden. Being able to just quote democracy, super Earth, all this shit. It's how memeable your game is how quickly you can get people talking about it.
You know what's really funny you say that, Friedman? I don't remember if I've showed you guys this channel recently on YouTube, but there's one of the channels I watch on YouTube pretty regularly is Cinema Wins. He's like a
you told me about this when
yeah.
I needed a Dune recap.
Yes, exactly. He consistently gets like maybe 100K, 200, anywhere up to 500 for like a big Marvel movie. For his videos on movies where he just talks about all the great things in those movies. His most recent video to hit 1 million was Starship Troopers. I have to imagine it's because he put that out right in the middle of the craze about Helldivers.
Dude, 100%.
I ended up watching Starship Troopers just because of Helldivers.
But like,
yeah,
I'm just saying, like, I'm agreeing with you. Is that like
Rico? You know what to do.
Like you're not wrong. It is one of those things where like it shows the power of easily like social media-able.
Like not the concept of joke memes of literally just being able to spread ideas.
Yeah.
Memeable.
So.
Which is mostly just through like internet.
Hideo Kojima talks about it in his book.
Oh Jesus Christ!
No, it's true. It's true.
I'm sure he does. He honestly, Kojima is a meme.
Yes.
Half of what
he actually is.
Half of what sells his video games is memes about Kojima.
Specifically Strand type memes about Kojima. No, I'm joking. That was just a opportunity for Strand.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying in general, like Hideo Kojima is just such a meme that like ever since I feel like Metal Gear Solid 4, like anything he does is like, oh, Kojima.
Like one of my Japanese animes.
Did any of you guys watch the trailer for Death Stranding 2?
No.
It's the most Kojima out of 10 shit I've ever seen. I don't know anything about this universe, but like some dude fights someone else with this like it's almost like a Tesla coil thing, but it's also an electric guitar, so he's playing it to shoot lightning at people. Kojima's on another level.
I want to have a talk with Kojima. Like, I want to just be a nerd with him one day. Like, you see this guy on his Instagram, and he's like, I'm going to go see this X classic movie, and I'm like, man, I just want to be your friend, bro. Like, I don't even want to, like, I just want to go see movies with this guy. Like, he was watching, he went to, like, the theater, he was going to a theater showing of A Fistful of Dollars in Japanese.
Jesus Christ, wow.
I'm like, man, I need to hang out with him.
That's
like, this motherfucker's so cool.
I'm honestly convinced he only started making video games because he really just wanted to make movies.
Yeah,
he's just a huge movie guy.
That's not a meme or anything. That's like a known quantity of Kojima.
No, I'm not saying this is an original thought. I just said I'm convinced that it's true.
Oh, it definitely is true. He made video games because he couldn't afford to make films.
But like now he's got Sony Pictures working with him, and he's like, I would still like to make video games.
Well, yeah, because he realized I'm making something that's longer than a fucking movie. Like, what is it? The cinematics of like Metal Gear Solid 4 is like a 6-hour movie or some shit.
Yeah, I was gonna say you really
can't. An hour and 20 minutes. Yeah.
You can't hand this guy a motherfucking script and tell him to make a movie. Like, it's
he
just
wouldn't
not
bother.
Yeah,
he'd be like,
he'd give you 4 movies and say we film in one shot.
Yeah, exactly. He'd be like, I need to make a, or honestly, he would be better off.
Quadrilogy.
No. He would be better off doing like a Fallout-sized TV show. Or like a Game of Thrones, even. Because if you think about it, those shows are those shows, when you cut down to the length, like, you know, a season of Game of Thrones, they're what, 8 episodes? Is what the last one was? Maybe more.
Yeah, around. So you get like 8 hours of content, roughly.
But that does. But also that doesn't count all the shit that's happening during the game. So he'd probably need the full like 12 hours. That's crazy to say. But Tyler, you said the forbidden word.
That this is just like one of your
Yeah.
Japanese animes.
I was like, wait, what did I say?
Yeah, we missed the transition there for more jokes, but the Weeb shit's.
So glad, Freeman. Just go to the second news story. I want to hear Tyler's reaction
I
to this.
I don't want to. I don't
Quintuplets,
fucking want
baby.
No more
Quintuplets.
quintuplets. I'm done.
They still exist.
quintessential quintuplets. Let's talk about this for a second. So, for anyone who's out of the loop on quintessential quintuplets, it's a show about this kid who he has to tutor these girls who are all quintuplets, and they all fall in love with him, and he has to end up with one of them, which created one of the greatest waifu wars in existence because they all looked exactly the fucking same. So everyone had to pick favorites based on other qualities, or pick.
And war
What's
crime.
the opposite of favorites? Yeah, or just not pick one because they're a war criminal. But quintessential quintuplets suffered from its own success. Season 1 was whatever. Season 2 comes out, and it starts blowing up in popularity, even though they handed it to a studio that was just like willing to cut content and basically do what they did with Horimiya, where it's like, we're just going to show you like only the core content that we're legally required to put into an anime. And they did that. And then they put the conclusion in a movie where they had to use all this extra time in the movie to fill in some of the holes that they left in season 2. And then they have so many holes that even after we had this movie, which tells you which girl wins, they're like, okay, let's do another season where we fill in all the side stories and shit because people love this franchise and we fucking blew it by ending it. By doing shit way too, like, chronologically condensed.
But here's the thing.
So they come with a whole
still
season.
Made tons of money even after the movie.
Yeah, there still wasn't enough. So now that we know who Futaro ends up with, they're now animating this honeymoon arc. Which, I don't know, like...
Yo, if my boy ain't getting laid in this, there's no fucking point. I don't care.
So hold on.
Ooh,
So
Tyler, that's a back down though from saying I don't care at all. Now you act like you care.
No, that's no
this is-
back down
this is
because
this
we know
man's-
it ain't gonna happen. They ain't gonna show nothing.
this is this man's honeymoon from his wedding. It's gotta happen. Are they gonna show it? This is a Square Enix. Oh, not Square Enix. This is Shonen Jump property, so probably not. But
I don't know. Got to make the money. Next generation. What if they have
Look.
quintuplets and then it all the cycle continues?
look, all I'm gonna say here is back in the day
Fuck you, Tim.
when Love Hina,
Don't fucking
back in the day when Love Hina was the hot shit harem anime, and they were like, all right, we're gonna come out with the story arc for what happens. Or sorry, no, they didn't do it in the anime. They did it in the manga. But like, what happens after the main couple gets together? When I read that in high school, I was like, good, finally, give me a romance where they're actually together. And then I regretted it because the last arc of Love Hina really sucks. And now it's like, well, now they're doing it again with quintuplets. And it's like, I've seen this one already. I don't know.
I shared this news to these two and Luigi so fast when I saw this headline. I was like, they can't keep getting away with it.
I saw it. I'm like, what the fuck are they animating? It's already over.
Like, I just don't understand, bro.
Friedman, I think we talked about this before on the podcast, but doesn't this still make big money in Japan?
Absolutely. Like, so there's this magazine.
Hold on. Yeah, I was gonna say the magazine that shows up on Reddit.
Yeah, I think it's Megami or something.
Yeah.
Point is, they always have promotional arc of who the big waifu is of the season of the year, and for the last year, there's Rem is always in it, and like Miku is always in it. Like, I don't know why quintuplets has like the staying power to still be relevant, especially after we already know which quintuplet wins. Like, people are still invested in this franchise. I don't know if it's just that they're buying merch that's doing it, but like, I
dude,
really don't understand.
It's 5 flavors of the same. It's like cherry Coke, vanilla Coke, Diet Coke, Coke Zero, and Classic Coke. Man,
And
There's a drink
someone's
for
like,
everybody.
A drink for everyone.
look, I'll say it, man. Like, I think I gave Quince season 2 a 10 out of 10 because I thought it was the best implementation of a harem anime. But like, even I, someone who gave that shit a 10 out of 10, just doesn't understand this.
You're not in Japan, dude. Oh man.
It's a whole other world.
I hate it
This
here.
just kills me, partially because it hurts Tyler so much. Because
Well, like, why though? Like, why? Why? Like, I just don't understand. Like, I'm getting sick of the whole, like, with everything. Like,
oh no.
why can't we just leave something good alone?
See, that's
We
the
have to
thing.
keep
Is this
going.
something
There's-
good?
It was. It
Yeah, it
ended. It was
was!
done. We didn't need to dig up this honeymoon grave.
Maybe
Yet
it's just
here we are.
Maybe it's just as someone who doesn't give a shit about Star Wars anymore, being like,
Here we
yes,
are.
good. Watch something else get run into the ground. Yes, good, good, good.
Why though?
I don't know.
You should have to wish that kind of awfulness on somebody.
Okay, this
you
is
know?
not the same thing. You
Nah,
guys,
this is the same thing, bro.
nah.
You ain't.
I feel like a decade of me doing Star Wars on YouTube, reading books and everything is not the same as you guys getting a post credits movie to.
What
a
do you
movie
mean?
that you already
I
got.
watched Halo end,
Yes.
and then they're like, we need more games
yeah,
out
I
of you,
felt the
Bungie."
same thing. What do you mean?
Yeah, so I'm aware of the loss.
Tyler, you know what I
Us
realized the other
fucking
day?
losers all know.
Tyler, you know what I realized?
What?
We still have not played Halo Infinite co-op.
Yeah, are you
when are we doing
shocked?
that?
It's weird to think about when I think about it.
Yeah, I'm really not shocked.
When it came out,
honestly.
we were like, we will absolutely do this, and then it was like a year delay, and that was almost 2 years ago that they gave co-op finally. Maybe not 2 years.
Yeah, I'm
It's at
honestly
least a
not
year.
fucking shocked, honestly.
But I
Like,
kind of want to finally do it sometime.
then when do you want it? It's up to you, Mister. Oh, I ain't got no fucking time.
Well, I don't have time, and I don't want.
All right, so it's
and I don't-
on you.
Well,
It's the
Dad's busy,
ball
can't play
in your
video games
court.
But
with
I'm
us.
saying I don't care enough to make time, which is fucking weird.
All right, well then that's on you though.
You also don't care enough to make time.
I can make time though.
Yeah, but you
I've
don't
even
care
brought it up
enough
to you.
to.
No,
That's
no,
what
no.
I'm saying.
I brought it up to you. I'm saying, hey, when do you want to do
When
this?
did you bring it up to me?
I brought it up to you a few months ago. Legit.
I
definitely have.
feel like that was
Definitely
me having another comment like this of I
Mm.
could have sworn I brought this up
Mm.
because it was after the Halo TV show, season 2.
All right, fine. Live on air. When are we doing this?
How many
I will
years
buy-
Listeners, if you
How
want
many years is it
to
gonna
see
be
these
until
two play
Henry moves
Halo,
Yeah, see this
Let-
motherfucker. He coming
Damn,
up with
that-
fucking excuses.
Come on with this. Wait, Friedman, what do you mean those two? Technically, originally, you and Aiden were supposed to be part of it too for the full 4-man.
they stole
There is
off
no
Walter-
4-man though. It's not 4-man.
Is it not?
I don't think so.
This is, I think, the last time I googled anything about Halo Infinite co-op.
It's like I was saying, listeners, if you want to see these two do a let's play of Halo Infinite, don't forget to like and subscribe, leave a comment. What was your funniest meme?
What was your funniest meme?
Is
Online
Kojima the
co-op,
greatest
4
filmmaker of our...
players. Up to 4 players can enjoy the campaign
shit.
together.
Oh.
Amend, listeners, if you want us to like track down Aiden for this let's play, let us know.
What was it? Also, I thought we were gonna play Ready or Not. We were supposed to play all these goddamn video games. I'm the only one out here playing video games.
Oh shit, let me
Friedman's playing
install
fuck
Ready or
tons
Not
of video
on
games.
Yeah, we're
No.
supposed to be playing Ready or Not though.
Yeah, and we
Y'all
have
just
played
hate
Ready.
me.
We have played Ready or Not. You mean for Let's Play?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll find a night where I can get online, Val watch Henry, and boom, we'll record.
I don't know,
Let's
sounds
Play.
like y'all hate me.
We might be
What the
ready, but it
fuck?
sounds like we're not.
Up.
I like that was a good.
Freeman,
that was good.
talk about the original story. This is a good.
Okay,
thing. I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
want- I don't want to-
Back to the Weeb shit. So
We were
I didn't
still
know this was
in-
happening. Yeah, no, we got so derailed that I needed to read the Weeb shit. So I don't know if it was previously announced that it was having a U.S. date. I know that we'd seen trailers for the Haikyuu movie, but apparently it's coming to U.S. theaters the last week in May. So
Finally,
Tim,
fuck.
you
Yes,
got to find a
we'll find a
babysitter.
way,
'Cause I know
yes.
Val's gonna want to see this too. But I'm definitely interested in seeing this one in theaters. And then the last one, still on the topic of movies, but I was trying to figure out what date it was originally announced. But as of last week, the Yuri on Ice movie is canceled.
Oh no.
Previously announced by Studio Mappa. I think they had definitely announced it pre-COVID.
Oh yeah, wasn't
it was
some
announced
way hanger on like this? Was some
This had been
internal
announced
project?
in 2017.
Jesus Christ.
And then reconfirmed in 2018. And then we've heard absolutely nothing. Oh, hold on one second. It is starting to rain, and my window's open. Hold on.
I was gonna say, Val texted me and was like, "Hey, I hear thunder," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's what Tyler told us was coming."
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, it's really sad that they waited 7 years to announce it was canceled because they probably knew a while back that there was something wrong here. It's still kind of shitty that they have like nothing to show for this, and the franchise is now effectively dead.
What was
At one
it?
point, they announced on
Wasn't there a
Twitter,
song?
and that was it.
There was a song that isn't there a song from this Friedman that Val played a bunch? Like one of the.
There was a teaser trailer. I'm not sure if it had a
No, not
song
for
in it.
this.
Are you
Not
talking
for
about
this.
from?
Like just related to the franchise.
Oh, it's the opening song. The Yes, We Were Born to Make History.
Yes, born to make history.
Yeah, that
Val's gonna
the
hear me and
opening
be like,
still
"Why the fuck is he
slaps
singing
even
the
after all
Mirror
these
Mike
years.
song?"
It's in.
Yeah,
it's
that song's
in,
good.
in
I
memorial.
remember I never made it to a playlist, but I remember Val playing it a couple times and it hits pretty good with that.
Yeah, it was good. But that was like that was it for the Weeb shit. Like there was nothing else going on. Like I feel like I repeat this every quarter, but like we're 3 weeks into the season, so like nothing's getting announced yet because all the hype is on what's airing right now.
You know, I was gonna say we have a bunch of shows on here that we've started, but honestly, like nothing this season has grabbed me hard at all yet. We'll talk about some shows, but like I don't know, man. Maybe it's just because I'm still coming down from finishing Freerun and Apothecary Diaries, but like almost nothing week to week, and none of the new shows are super jumping out at me.
It's kind of weird because like from the ones on this list, we'll get to explaining what it is, but the Loser Rangers is actually the show that I'm between that and Delicious and Dungeon are like the two shows I'm excited for week to week.
All right, let's
at this
just
point.
talk about Loser Rangers because you just brought it up, and it's the only
Okay,
one.
we can bring it up first.
So we started this.
So
together.
Tyler, this is a goofy show that Tim. Yeah, I think it was last week. We needed something for just the two of us to watch because Val was out, or I think maybe it was Saturday.
It was Saturday when Val was down with her stomach bug.
We can make it if we try, just the two of us.
What?
So the show's English show is called Go Go Loser Rangers. So we're like, all right, cool. This is a Power Ranger spoof. What's the deal here? Tim, do you want to give the synopsis?
Sure. Oh hell yeah, I'd love to. So, 7 years ago or something like that, a big Power Ranger villain fortress appears in the sky over the Earth. And then every single week on Sunday, monsters come down and these Dragon Rangers kill them. Every single time. They kill them, they chase them back to the fortress, and every week a new monster shows up. Well, we find out immediately that actually the real story is that a year after the fortress showed up, the Rangers killed the bosses who ran the fortress, and now the
Rangers aren't just for show. They're actually strong enough to defend the Earth from like aliens.
Yes. So they killed the bosses of the fortress, and that just left all the little jobbers who have this like for some reason are basically immortal. They're weak, but they like reform into out of dust and can like shape their forms a little bit every time. All right? So they just don't die. They haven't explained it yet. We've only watched 2 episodes. But the Rangers then turn to all these jobbers and are like, "Hey, we're making shit tons of money and you guys either work for us and show up every week and we beat you and you come back in here and we leave you alive, or we kill you now." So for 6 years, these jobbers keep putting up one of them as a frontman as a new monster every single week.
Essentially creating this like Sentai Monster of the Week structure, but in real life.
But it's like, it's actually like a super dark version where these jobber villains who can't die are basically just like bullied into doing this for these Rangers every week.
Damn.
And one of them decides, fuck it, I've had enough. And basically during an exhibition gets killed, but instead of reforming in the fortress, reforms outside, disguises himself as a human, and that's the start of the story.
And so he's trying to go through like the Ranger training program to infiltrate, and effectively, I think his current goal is he wants to kill the Red Ranger.
To be fair, we're only 2 episodes in, but his goal is I want to get strong and infiltrate the Rangers so I can murder the Rangers.
Yeah, that sounds great.
It's pretty interesting. The
show
also definitely is a bit on a budget. It's doing this, but it's doing this interesting thing where they're doing a good job of blending CG with 2D. So you can tell there's CG, but there's like 2D on top of it. I'll call it the 5% budget version of what Arcane or Blue Eye Samurai did. Like
it's kind of like the face is definitely drawn in 2D, but you can tell that the body and most of the head is 3D.
But it works, and it's definitely an interesting premise.
the Jobber's design is very conducive to having CG body, so it's way less
Yeah.
noticeable in them. But then when like the Power Rangers themselves, or if the Dragon Rangers are moving around, like you can very much tell, like, damn, that bicep he's flexing is 100% CG, even though his face isn't.
But yeah, it's interesting. Friedman and I are definitely going to keep going with it, and I'm interested to see where it goes.
It's an actually creative concept for once.
For once.
But speaking of weird imaging strategies in an anime, let's talk about Laid Back Camp.
Oh, do we have to?
So
Well,
we
I thought
have to
that was
talk
your
about this.
favorite show. What the hell?
I do still love this show, but it has two glaring problems this season.
Very big. Which
The
apparently,
first is-
just to preface what you're going to say, Freeman, we have read the online threads on our anime. We seem to be the only people in the world who feel this way.
Yeah, no one's complaining about this, but like the show very much feels like it was bought out by the Tourism Board of Japan to promote certain regions. Like we're on the third episode in a row of they're like, we got to get to the campsite, but let's stop at this bridge and look at this mountain. And this is the third episode of them doing this. They haven't camped yet. It's
No,
like,
they did
very
a half
much-
episode camp in a backyard. But
Oh my
other than that,
God.
they've been
It's-
teasing the first real camp the whole time.
They're very much just showing these niche places that they want you to travel to in Japan. And the way they show you, in order to get the full experience of seeing what these scenic places look like, is instead of actually animating it like a real anime studio should, they're just taking actual real life photos and barely putting an anime filter over
Tyler,
most of the
it's
backgrounds.
so much like.
Are you
Like, it's
serious?
super
so
obvious.
much detail that there's no way human beings drew this. This is just edited photos in like 90% of this show.
It's egregious.
It's
like it's
so
almost
egregious. It's
disturbing.
hilarious. It fucking cracks me up.
Honestly, you know what? Now that I think about it, I'm just gonna say this. It just dawned on me. I feel like every anime we watch, like no matter what it is, I feel like it just fucking declines. I feel like shit. Like not
just wait till
everyone,
we
but
get to
there's
the
a lot
list.
that's
Oh my
just,
god, you're really taking the wind out of Freeman's sails on his next anime to talk about.
Oh no, I'm gonna talk.
But
Maybe we're all too pessimistic.
I don't know.
but
that feels like too
not
harsh.
every,
I mean,
but man, a lot of it though, man. Like
I think the problem. I'm not going to disagree with you. I think the problem with Laid Back Camp is they kind of ran out of steam with like the idea of camping. But they even talk about it in or where did we see it, Freeman, or something like Mother's Basement mentioned it or something, like somewhere we saw in a video or something. Like Laid Back Camp outside of the anime does so much business doing like promotions with the brand and things like that in Japan. Like they are all over Japan as like representatives
it's a huge
of camping and
merchandise thing.
tourism. It's so much merchandising, so many promotionals. So like it just feels like they ran out of how to do camping and they just were like, okay, well we'll sell, like Friedman said, like we'll sell the chance for regions of Japan to buy advertising. Like the last 2 episodes, Nadeshiko and Rin are going to go meet up at a campsite in a mountainous area, but it's this famous area that has like 20 bridges or something like that are all like these giant foot bridges leading over like rivers and shit, and it's this mountainous region. They've just been traveling or walking on bridges for 2 episodes now. That's all they're doing. No camping, just oh, I'm on a train. Isn't this train cool? Oh, I can't wait to go get this local delicacy. Haha. Oh,
you know what
these
I
bridges are
find-
so fucking cool. Wow, look at these bridges.
what I find interesting too, because you're saying stuff about Japanese tourism. Have you guys been seeing those articles about like Japan closing shit off to like foreign tourists?
Yes, because it's getting overrun with people.
Yeah, overall people are just being like, I guess, dickheads.
Which doesn't make any sense because this show is so key to that. Like, hasn't camping wasn't it like we saw headlines about how after the first season, like camping, especially around Mount Fuji, like went fucking apeshit?
Absolutely. Yeah, the entire prefecture it takes place in, for a lot of the campsites, has seen an explosion in popularity from the show. And I think Giga makes a reference to it in his video where he's like, oh, look, the tourism board of whatever prefecture definitely funded this one.
Yes. Oh, no. He was talking about the grandpa anime. Remember the apples?
We're thinking of 2 different videos.
Okay. Both
Either
are
way,
true. Both are true.
Either way, it sort of feels like I'm being advertised to,
Yes.
but they're advertising something I can never actually spend money on, so it's kind of annoying.
And I also can't pretend to give a shit, so like I'm not as interested.
At this point, I'll channel my inner Gen Z and say I'm just here for vibes at this point.
Unless you go for you
Like-
get to whatever you actually go to Japan.
Bro, I'm
I
not
actually just
camping in
met
Japan.
somebody who said they were gonna go to Japan like soon.
I feel like I was talking to someone too who said something about going to Japan.
Like one of my coworkers.
Val's friend Sarah, whose wedding we went to, they went to Japan for a honeymoon for 2 weeks.
Oh yeah.
That's the only one I can think of.
Yo, I'm not trying to get called a gaijin, bro. I'm really not.
You know what
about
you
it.
are.
Not true. I mean, you're not wrong. You definitely ain't wrong about that. Listen, I face racial persecution here. I'm not trying to go there and also face it.
All right. Speaking of
On top of
persecution,
my
Friedman,
nationality.
Yeah, persecution. All right, let's talk about Jobless Reincarnation because it's
Oh,
back for the
man.
season. This is a second core situation, so it's a continuation from where we left off. And I still think, even though we've resolved the plot line in the first season and now we can finally move on, I don't think we are. And I think this is not meant. I'm not here to tell you that Jobless is bad. I'm here to tell you that it is encountering the problem that almost every isekai I've watched has, where it's lost what made it good. Very early on, we had the whole Rudy trauma bit from season 1. Season 2 replaced it with trauma that only exists in his current character and has really nothing to do with the fact that he's a reincarnated person who still had real trauma. And now we're at a point where almost nothing from season 1 even really matters right now. And it's very much just, Rudy's got a wife, and now we're going to add on some little sisters. And, like, spoiler alert, there may be more waifus coming in the future. And it's like, I feel like I'm losing the point. Like, everything that made season 1 good, the traveling, the world building, we haven't gotten any of that. And I don't know if we're going to get any of that in the remainder of season 2. And if we don't...
tell you, I don't... Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's because I watched basically all of season 1 when I was sick with COVID. I remember so little about the Demon Continent. And unfortunately... most of what I remember about Mushoku Tensei is pretty animation and Rudy being a piece of shit. And it's almost refreshing to me to have him not be as much of a piece of shit anymore.
I mean, it is nice that he's been, for the most part, for the last 3 episodes, a wholesome person, and his gang is pretty nice. But it's... How do I put it?
But also, it feels like the story literally is just spinning its wheels right now.
Yeah, like it's a different anime now. It's a different one than I fell in love with in season 1. I don't like it.
We'll see where the rest of this core goes, because the intro implies that something will happen in terms of adventuring by the end of this.
Oh, I certainly hope so. If he's still at the school at the end of season 2, I'm gonna kill someone.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Freeman, when they were talking about buying a house, I was like, oh, he'll like go home and buy a house. He's not gonna stay here. And they're like, no, he bought a home at the school. And it's like, oh, so I guess we're really committing to this school place like for a long fucking time.
Which seems weird considering both Rudy's and Sophie's reason for being at the school doesn't really exist anymore.
Yeah, no.
So,
like, what else are we doing?
What are we doing here?
I will say, though, for all of the frustration of the overall story, it is impressive to me, and I did complain to Val about how frustrating it is to have Mushoku Tensei try to keep me in. Hearing him and Sylphie have, like, an honest conversation and, like, a pretty grown-up conversation about, like, having kids and, like, difficulties in that regard and things like that. Like, it is... This show definitely hasn't stopped being mature. Like, there's a little bit of goofiness, but there is definitely a sense of, like, I don't know, like, growing up a little bit? I was actually going to say, Freeman, do you think they'll ever stop narrating Rudy with the original guy?
I don't think they're ever going to.
Okay.
They're always going to keep that split between his internal monologue and what he sounds like outside.
Because it hit me when we were watching this episode, or when I watched this episode, and it's like, oh, it's been 3 years since Eris left at the end of season 1, and it's like, holy shit, like, Rudy's, like, it gotta be, like...
He's almost an adult now, and he's going to keep this girl
20s?
voice on the outside the entire time.
Well, yeah. I don't know. It's still fine, but like I also think that like I don't know. Giguk was like
It's not
the
a
guy
bad
who
show,
like,
but it's just
it's not the same show. I was kind of honestly I was like Paul's talking about going to find the wife or his wife, and I'm like, are we gonna cut to Paul and like stop following Rudy around? Like Paul's gonna go do a thing. Rudy's doing nothing.
It's also been 3 years since that conversation about them going to find the moms. Like this has been a trek. I really hope she's okay.
It's
They don't just
wild
leave
to
this
think it's been
hanging
such a
plot thread.
long time. I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah.
let's keep going. There's only a little bit left.
All right, yeah, moving on. So we got Spice and Wolf, aka me and my furry wife who discuss economics while evading the church. This one, I didn't put Bartender on the list here, but Spice and Wolf is the other like legacy anime remake this season.
Yeah, because I made the joke to you about how we have 2 legacy anime coming out in the same season, which is another Friedmanism of this has never happened before, and it's crazy this happened.
The thing is, they're doing the complete opposite approaches. Like Bartender, the remake is like almost unrecognizably different, whereas Spice and Wolf is like a straight up 1-to-1 episode by episode remake, just with prettier visuals and just better conversation pacing. Because like Tim, you heard me complaining that slime is all conversations, and the reason I'm coming from that is that Spice and Wolf as a franchise is known for literally just being talking at each other, spinning economics at each other for 20 minutes at a time until one of them realizes, wait a minute, that guy was lying, and now they have to explain why lying in economics is. And it's very much a nothing happens, but nothing happens at a reasonable pace, so it keeps you interested. I don't know. Honestly, I think most people are just here for Hollow being a quirky waifu, but we'll see how much that holds up, given that we've had like 20 years of waifus to fill in the gap since she first took the throne. So we'll see. Overall, good adaptation.
Freeman, what do you mean she took the throne? She's never won the bracket at the end of the year.
Oh, she was the queen before the brackets existed.
Freeman as someone
this
newer
is
to anime.
Her year.
As someone newer to anime, I don't know.
Maybe you should watch the Spice and Wolf remake. We're only 2 months out from waifu brackets happening again, so we'll see what happens.
God, it would.
Or a month and a half.
I could see her winning. I would also die laughing if she did worse this year than she has any year before.
Oh, every year she ends up in the quarterfinals against Megumin. I don't know how it happens. And I can't wait this year to once again vote for Megumin against her to see if I can make the Hollow fans salty. Even though Megumin's own anime made her a definitively worse waifu overall.
Oh man, is that a transition, Friedman? I know Fallout was next. Do we want to end with anime?
Yeah, Tyler, you mind if we talk about the last anime and then switch to Fallout?
Yeah, I totally might. No, I'm just kidding. I don't give a fuck.
Well, because that transition to Konosuba is too perfect.
Talk about Konosuba. I haven't. Like, what do you guys think about it?
Oh man.
So the comedy is 100% still there. All the good characters are there. All the faces are back. But it's a different animation studio. And
okay.
When we say different, when he says different, he means different.
Like for bad, I guess.
Oh, so
bad. Like, just don't look too closely at any character's face when they're not the main character in a shot. Also, don't stare at any one character's face for too long, or you might start noticing things like eyes looking in the incorrect directions.
Yeah, I pointed one out that was pretty bad.
There are some pretty rough shots in this show, but I'm not watching Konosuba because it's beautiful. I'm watching because it's funny, and the big scenes like Cosmo going for a steal, they still do put in the same degree of effort to animate it, but it's not quite as beautiful. And I will say this: we haven't had an explosion yet, and that's going to be the true measure of like how much effort are they really putting into this.
The intro has a very pretty explosion.
Yeah, but that's the intro.
I know,
they always
but I'm just saying, at least it's better than literally zero.
Yes, they have potential.
This is the season that Val has decided to give up on Konosuba.
Damn.
Val was like,
yeah, she quit after the last one.
You guys can enjoy this without me. I don't need this.
Was it like one particular joke that did it, or is it just all of it?
I think it was the steal. She remembered what happens every time he steals.
Every time Cosmo uses steal.
And I will say,
that's pretty legendary, though.
It is, but like, I will say, like, I'm getting to the point where it's like, can it be anything else? Like, I even told Freeman, I was
come
like,
on, it's a classic.
No, it's
yeah,
a
but
classic.
Tyler-
I never talk about this.
I was
When
like-
Cosmos says he's gonna use steel, you already know what's gonna happen.
but I was
Yeah.
like, Tyler, here's the thing. I was
Come
like,
on, Bart,
literally-
say the thing.
I was like, literally, if he just stole like a bra one time instead of fucking underwear.
Nah, it's
one
gotta
time.
be underwear, bro.
Oh
It's
my
gotta be.
God, it's so frustrating.
Gotta be. You know what, Tim? Fine. You know what? We're gonna enjoy this. See, this is
I'm
why you
literally
didn't see the
watching
movie
it with
without us.
Friedman.
This is why you didn't see the movie with
Shut
us.
the
alright?
fuck up. You know I'm still sad
Yeah,
I need to go. Fuck you. I still fucking died laughing when we all rewatched that together.
Anyway, regardless, go watch it. It's still hilarious.
Okay, go watch it if the humor worked for you. If you were ever on the edge or unsure about Konosuba, don't stick with it. It's not different.
Yeah, if you were one of those viewers who during season 2 you got really mad because the line work was inconsistent, get the fuck out now. Don't bother.
But also, if you think that Konosuba the flip side, if you think Konosuba was ruined because the Megumin show was so bad, Val and I dropped it, and even Friedman said it was so shitty. Konosuba itself is still good. What?
Oh no, I just whispered yeah, it wasn't funny.
Oh, okay. I thought you
that
said
what?
yeah, it was funny, and I was like, wait,
No,
that
it
totally
wasn't funny.
contradicts
And
what
it
you said.
falls very much into my comedies that aren't funny caveat.
Yeah, no, the Megumin show kind of sucked, but Konosuba itself is definitely funny. My only concern is that, like, Kazuma needs to do something that's not a total dick move to, like, turn it around and remind me that he can be a good person ever. Because I feel like my tolerance for his bullshit is wearing thin, and I need, like, a refresher to remember that he isn't literally always the worst thing ever. Just most of the time.
Seen that scene in The Last Jedi where Kylo Ren is just like screaming more. That's how I feel about Kazuma's bullshit. I'm the
Yeah,
opposite
I'm
of
on
you,
that
Tim.
bullshit too.
I
wanna
will
see
say,
how
I
Cosmo
will say,
bullshit.
See how big a hole he can dig himself into.
I will say, what was it, episode 2 that we watched, Freeman, where the big party's at the end, or is that episode 3?
The party was 2.
Okay, so at the end of the party, the declaration he makes in front of everyone, like, that cracked me up, because that is, like, such a, wait, what are, like, if you stop and think about what he's doing, you're like, wait, Cosmo, you're doing the worst thing possible. This is such a bad thing you're doing. Tyler,
I enjoy what?
No, don't ruin it.
I won't
for-
ruin it. I won't ruin it. Tyler might actually watch Konosuba.
I mean, I am. I might watch an episode after we're done here.
Ooh.
Oh hell yeah.
Have you watched any or no?
No, because I didn't have access to it.
Oh.
Because somebody revoked their access to me.
Sorry, not sorry.
Damn.
It wasn't even my fault. It wasn't even.
It wasn't your fault, but
In
listeners,
fact,
for
I
some
was there
context,
live.
yeah, listeners, I used to share my Crunchyroll account with a lot of people, and then when Crunchyroll limited the number of concurrent streams you could have, I was trying to share a screen with both Val and Tyler to watch. What's that show? Something Rouge.
Yeah,
Metallic Rouge.
Metallic
and I
Rouge.
couldn't- and I couldn't. Yeah, the first episode, Tim. It was after you and Val had already. I think it was you and Val had already watched it, but you guys were like,
that
"Oh,
makes-
it's Tyler's aesthetic," and I was interested. So, but you
Okay,
weren't
that
available,
makes
so
more
we were
sense
watching with Val. Anyway, long story short, I couldn't watch because someone else was already streaming my account, so I had to make the executive decision to just kick everyone off universally, so that I would never
Pull the
ever
plug.
again get blocked from watching on my own account. So a lot of people were very mad, Tyler included, but I personally believe it's for the greater good.
No, I'm not
Later,
that mad. Not actually that mad. I'm just like, all right, I guess I'm not
I
watching.
know
Free Run.
it's an inconvenience. I can't share the wonderful gift of anime with everyone now. All right, so let's talk about not anime, but still in the realm of video games.
Shit. Yeah.
Alright.
Best thing,
what?
Tyler, is
Is
the
it
best
normie
thing
shit?
we've talked about?
I guess it is. I guess it's not normie shit. Technically.
What are we
Wait,
talking
what'd
about,
you
by
say,
the way?
Tim? Fallout.
Is it the best thing we've talked about based on what Friedman and I have said about all these anime?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Actually, though, like,
No, I figured it was.
yeah, no,
So-
this shit is good.
I can back him up because I've seen only episode 1, so I can at least comment on the quality of the show. And he might be right.
Yeah,
Tyler, should I really press Val to try this?
yeah.
Really?
Though I don't
How?
think Val would like it though. I don't
Okay,
think
so I
Val
do
would
have
like
to
How does
it.
watch
she
it
how
by
does she
myself.
handle violence or gory
Not
scenes?
Nah,
a
I
fan.
can already tell you Val ain't for this.
Okay, so I do have to watch it alone. Okay.
Yeah, she's gonna get to the first cousin fucking joke and she's not gonna be for it. Freeman knows what I'm talking about. I saw his
'Cause I
his
wasn't
mic go up.
expecting that. I was like, oh, you're into the first the first scene where like someone gets shot or something, and you're like, no, you just went a completely different direction with it. So I was caught off
Yeah,
guard.
and you
But
know
yeah,
I'm right though.
yeah, you are.
Like it's but yeah, like I mean like cuz I have gotten some like I've heard some people like, "Oh, like this show's just like really violent." I'm like, "Yeah, haven't you played any of the Fallout games?" And like the answer is like a resounding no. Like a lot of people that know who have watched this show who hasn't really played the games or like maybe touched it for like maybe 5 minutes. They all think it's pretty good. The only people I know who have played the games, like at least played one game all the way through, that I know, and has watched the show is me, my friend Shane, who's my best man, and Michelle. And we all agree that we really like this game. Like, and they make
Game?
all of these like super like really small. I mean, a lot of it is obviously like references to the game. But like there's just a lot of small details like with the Pit Boy and all this other shit. It just looks really good. And the story is really good too. And there's been a lot of comparison I've seen between this and Halo and memes about like, oh, I wish my franchise got a good story to go with its game, right? Uh, but yeah, I wish Halo was this good. Oh, I think because a lot of things like I've like they got some like Fallout lore like wrong, I guess, or like they decided to take some liberties with like the how the ghouls work and some other shit, right? I'm okay with that really as long as it's the story is good. And I said that about Halo too. I'm like, I'd be totally fine if Master Chief could be one of like the chosen Forerunner people, right? If the story was good. But the story like isn't even of the same caliber as Fallout.
That's I feel like that I don't want to pull the they had an easy time of it card because it sounds like Fallout really worked for it to be this good. But like
Yeah.
it feels like the Fallout universe is going to be built for a story like a TV show a lot more easily than the fucking Halo universe is going to be.
Well, yeah, because
Yeah.
also like the Fallout games, like they're all one-offs. It's not like that's a continuous story, right? Um, and actually, it's funny because it follows the same exact structure as any Fallout game, except for New Vegas. New Vegas was like the only game where you don't start off as a vault dweller. But like Freeman, how episode 1 is literally the start of every Fallout game. Some
So like it actually
catastrophe fucking
like,
happens.
but then it jumps like the other factions' perspectives in the game.
No, I mean it's like every like Bethesda game where you get to like go and do missions.
Oh,
Right. No, I
okay.
was saying like you're so like in Fallout, right? Like say this was the show is Fallout 5, you would be playing as Lucy.
Okay, like you start in a vault, something happens, you leave the vault, and now you're exploring the
Yeah,
world.
it's like Elder Scrolls games where you wake up as a prisoner. It's the same thing.
Yeah. It is literally the same thing. Except there's vaults. But I'm really thinking like the other thing I was telling Michelle about it, and like I think we were like on the same page about it because I was like, why? I was like, why? Because my first question I asked to myself and like us, I was like, why Fallout out of all of the IPs that they could have made game adaptations on? I'm like, why though?
So, I think Fallout is sneakily a very, very popular IP. And this is super relevant because I was just listening to my Magic podcast earlier, and apparently in the Q1 earnings for Wizards of the Coast, I'm not trying to bring this up as a news story, but they said the Fallout Commander decks that came out a couple months ago, like 2 months ago, were the most popular themed commander decks that they've ever sold.
Wait, more than Lord of the Rings?
I don't know if that counts because those were tied to a set, but compared to Warhammer and Doctor Who, and I thought there was one more.
I'm surprised they beat out Doctor Who. There's a lot of
Tries to
fucking
be
losers
Warhammer.
out
Those
there.
things
Doctor Who's probably the
immediately
least,
sold out.
but it apparently was their sellingest set of commander decks. I didn't read the article, and I'm going off memory from what another podcast said earlier. But like that's pretty impressive because I got to tell you, the cards in those were not like, ooh, these are the coolest new. There's no crazy staple. There's no like, oh, this card is busted in every format. Got to buy a copy of the deck just to get a copy of this card. Like, people just love the shit out of Fallout, I guess.
It's weird. I always thought that people like I knew Fallout was popular, but I didn't think it was like really that popular.
I didn't either.
My reason is, I mean, there's no official like sources I can back this except for like the general media that we're in. Like my theory is like, yeah, I do think it checks one of those boxes, right? It's like Fallout is a popular series. Check. I think personally, and I'm not trying to get super political. I'm really not trying to get political here. All I'm saying is that no, like there is. Oh no, I'm not like talking about like
No, I
you know anything in general, but like if you look at a lot of the other popular stuff that's like kind of coming out that's been like making major headlines, it's all about like some catastrophe. Like I mean, was it like um what is it called? Like because I was trying to tell Michelle, I'm like, yo, there's like some kind of catastrophe happening in the U.S., right? Because like not too long ago, like we got some popular stuff with like Silo. Like Silo was pretty popular on Apple TV. That came out last year. The Civil War movie came out last week. What else? The Last of Us,
Dude,
another
I think
popular.
I get where you're coming from. So like, it's the same thing with like isekai. It's the I hate the way the world is, and I want to tell a story of it. So Japan's very much fantasy of bring me somewhere else. The U.S. fantasy is I want this shit the way it is to end. Tell me a story after it's over.
Yeah, but like it's in a very super gritty way because like I know what you mean. Because Michelle's like, well, that's what like your Hunger Games and Maze Runner. I'm like, no. Like I'm not talking about that. I'm talking like actual like shit is like super grimy. Like it's a very gritty sort of like world that is being lived in. Like like all these other stories are being told like a YA novel because they were YA novels, right? Or there was Snowpiercer, right? It's like
man.
it's almost to the point where like it's super fantasy. I mean, I guess Fallout is kind of too, but
But it has
like
that tiny bit of realism
I
tied to it.
was gonna say
yeah,
Fallout also has the retro vibe where it's like it's fantasy, but also it's got the retro because everyone associates the thematic of the like I'm gonna like the old
These
jazzy like
aesthetic.
aesthetic. Not jazzy. What's that called? What's that? What's
jazzy
that?
what?
What's the music of Fallout called? Like the branding of like like old style music.
Swing styles.
Swing maybe? I don't. But you know what I mean.
I'm bad. Shane would fucking shoot me in the face if
But
I
you guys know
got this
exactly. You
wrong.
can as soon as I say that, you
Yeah,
can
I've been listening
picture.
to it. I've been listening
Yeah.
to Roy Brown all fucking week,
There
bro.
you go. You can
Just
immediately
hacking
picture
and whacking and smacking.
and
I
you
think it's just
picture
like
that,
pop.
and it's
sort of.
tied. Sure, but it's tied to Fallout. Like it's in, but also nukes went off. There's monsters based on radiation. You have guns, but it's also old timey music as like the thematic of it. So it combines a lot of elements that speak to a lot of people.
Yeah, it's just pop music. Like
Okay.
of the time, just like
Just
considered pop music or like
what would
jazz.
the era be? What's the
Like
age?
what 40s through 60s.
Okay, it's like 40s, 50s. Okay.
Yeah, so literally around like the Cold War.
No, that's fine. I just don't know years of like older music.
Yeah,
Like
I
what's
I
70s
sort of know
disco,
that stuff.
right? Like I'm just bad about music history.
Oh, you mean 70s pop music? Yeah.
No, it's not 70s.
Oh my, no, he's making
No,
fun of
say
disco
it's
being
calling
70s
disco
pop.
70s pop music.
Goddamn. Super random. No, I'm not gonna talk about it. I was gonna get into like some other music stuff, but it's not worth it. Just you know what? Bonus thing in the comments, everybody. Let me know if you guys have listened to Holy Diver by both Dio
Holy
and Killswitch
Diver.
Engage, and let me know which one's your favorite because
Oh,
mine
I've never heard the
is.
Kill Switch version.
Huh? Oh, you do?
I don't know
I
if
have
I know
not
the-
heard it. And I'm
I-
going
I
to
Oh, you
listen to
haven't
it
heard
after
it?
this,
we
probably.
might have to listen to it right after this because I haven't
Oh,
either.
please. Because there's so many people, like, at the office, I played it, right? And, like, everybody's like, oh, Dio's just better. I was like, listen, I'm not dogging James Rodney Dio by any, like, not even in the slightest. But Howard Jones in his Killswitch Engage era, fucking, like, it's just a better song.
All right, we're
It's just a
gonna
better song.
stop the podcast here and go listen to it as a group.
Yeah.
So until next time, everybody, we had a actually short one, under an hour and a half. Good job, guys.
Whoa.
Congratulations.
Only, what is this? 35 minutes of it out of 85 was talking about a couple anime and the Fallout show.
Most because we just didn't watch and play anything this week.
No, I know. But until next time, everybody, thank you all so much for listening. My name's Timpedia.
I'm Friedman.
Just Tyler.
And we're going to go compare some music. Thanks for listening.